Hi there, this is Dave H., the creator of Jambonz. In our previous video, we compared some of the different speech recognizers in terms of their latency, how quick they are to respond, and we found that Deepgram was the fastest, at least in our testing using the English language. In fact, as we mentioned in the video, it's so quick that sometimes it can cause a problem in conversational AI because it returns a fragment of a sentence, whereas you wanted an entire sentence. So in this video, we're going to look at how to fine-tune that. I've got an application that I'm going to run. It's a very simple, it's the Echo application that I was running before. And by the way, you can easily generate scaffold an application like this yourself just by doing npx create jambonz ws app if you want to scaffold up a WebSocket application, or just create jambonz app if you want a webhook application. If you run it with no parameters, it'll show you how to generate various types of snares, of which one is this very basic Echo app. So we call in, we say something, we listen, we gather it, and it repeats back. I'm using the Deepgram recognizer here. You can see that I'm using the English language, and I'm choosing their latest model, Nova 2, which is available under early access. And if we run it just like that, we can see that it's, we'll see that it's pretty snappy. To test, instead of calling, I'm going to use a WebRTC phone that we're coming out with. It's a little Jambonz web phone. It's a Chrome extension, so you can pop it up at any time, which is neat. And like any SIP phone, you put in the basic information, the SIP domain, the server address, the username and password that it's going to authenticate with. And you can point this at any SIP server, but it's designed to be used with Jambonz, and here I'm pointing it at my Jambonz server. Shows the calls that we've made, and we have the basic dial pads where we can type a number and dial into the system. It's got a couple other nice features. One is that you can dial directly to an application. So it's queried my account, and it's found that I have 3 applications, and I can test any of them just by clicking on them in this list. And the one we'll test is Dave H. Echo Test. And by the way, there's a couple other features as well. If we had calls in queue, I could see the queues and the number of calls in each, and I could click on the queue to take a call. We don't have any calls in queues, so can't do that at the moment. Similarly, online users. I could see other users that are registered within my account, and I could call them directly. These, I'm using a user that I created in the portal. You can go in, you can create a SIP client. You can check to disallow these features that I just showed you if you wanted. But in any case, with that, I have this. Let's test the basic app. Let me make sure I started it. I did.
Hi there. Please say something and we will echo it back to you.
What time is the meeting tomorrow?
You said, what time is the meeting tomorrow? The confidence score.
Okay, so that's super quick. That's what we saw in the last video, and Deepgram is great. Now, sometimes that's suitable. That's Deepgram with the defaults. We're going to tweak some settings. An example of when it's great to leave it at the defaults is when you're expecting a directed, very short directed command, maybe an affirmation. So if my prompt was something like, good morning, are you interested in booking a flight with us today? Kind of a yes-no type of question. I'll rerun that. I'm just running these my application locally using ngrok, as we all do.
Good morning. Are you interested in booking a flight with us today?
Yes.
You said yes.
Okay, so there's an example. I'm expecting something short. I want to keep the conversation moving briskly along without any strange pauses. And Deepgram is great for that. Let's look at a different scenario. Let's look at if I'm looking for if I've got a more open-ended question. And how can I help you today? Now let's say the caller's calling in and I've got a problem with my internet service, and I'm going to explain that. And it's going to take me a few sentences. I may pause as I'm trying to think and put thoughts together. Let's see what happens in that case.
Good morning. How can I help you today?
Yeah, hi.
You said, yeah, the confidence score was 0.
See, there you go. So it's very quick, and sometimes I don't want that quickness. But we've got some great ways that we can tune it. We're going to look at two options for tuning things in Deepgram. Let's go back to our code. Here's Deepgram. I'm going to stay with that model. In the recognizer properties in jambonz, these are all sort of common properties, the vendor, the language. Many of the vendors have models. For instance, Google does, Deepgram does, others do. When we have vendor-specific stuff, then we put it in a property. In the case of Deepgram, the property is called Deepgram options. We're going to look at a feature called endpointing. I'm going to set it to 100. So let me describe what this does. Deepgram has the ability to break your speech into utterances. The default amount of speech energy that it's looking for when it's breaking things into utterances, when it's doing the endpointing, is 10 milliseconds. And that's why one reason why it's so snappy. That's a very short period of time. So here, I'm going to set it to 100 milliseconds. Let's see if it does anything differently.
Good morning. How can I help you today?
Yeah, hi.
You said, yeah, the confidence score was 0.
So not much of a difference there. Let's set it to, let's go all the way to 3/4 of a second.
Good morning. How can I help you today?
Yeah, hi. I've got a problem with my internet router. The red lights are blinking, and I don't know exactly what I should do about it. I mean, can I power cycle it? Or do you need to send someone?
You said, yeah, hi, I've got a problem with my internet router. The red lights are blinking, and I don't know exactly what I should do about it. I mean, can I power cycle it?
So you can see that's better. And for certain interactions, that's probably fine. Here's an interaction where we're really letting the person ramble on. So we need even something a little bit longer than that. And they've got another option. Let me show you the other option, the other property. It's called utterance and MS. I'm going to set it to 2000. Now this at a high level seems like it does a very similar thing. It's listening for an amount of silence before it returns a final transcript. But it is different in some subtle and important ways. The endpointing feature works on speech energy. It works before transcripts have been made, before words have been rendered out of the speech. So it's really just looking at the energy in the speech. And that has pluses and minuses. It's very efficient, but on the other hand, something like a noise from an appliance, a loud buzz or tone can also throw it off. In my testing, it's been useful to increase that if you're looking for something like we were in the range, taking it from 10 milliseconds, maybe to 1/4 of a second, maybe half a second, up towards a second. If you need speech beyond that, this other property they have is more useful. It's called utterance and MS. Here I'm setting it to the end, and again, it's on the face sounds very similar. It's the amount of silence, trailing silence, that will cause the Deepgram to determine an utterance has ended or completed. Here I'm setting it to 2000 milliseconds or 2 seconds. But this works a little differently. It works based on words, so it's really on speech itself. So it isn't thrown off by a buzz or a noise. It is less efficient, and therefore they don't recommend using it unless you're going to set it to a value of at least 1,000. And in fact, it kind of rounds up by seconds. So you would want to set it to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 for 3 seconds, something like that. So it's really for when you've got something like we're doing here, more open-ended kind of sentence, and you want to set it to that. Let's set it to 2,000, and we'll test again.
Good morning. How can I help you today?
Yeah, hi. I've got an internet problem with my internet router. The red lights are blinking, and they've been like that all night. Can I just power cycle it, or do I need you to send someone out?
You said, yeah, hi, I've got an internet problem with my internet router. The red lights are blinking and they've been like that all night. Can I just power cycle it, or do I need you to send someone out?
So there you go. That's kind of the some of the great options that Deepgram provides for really managing what you need out of a specific turn of the conversation. The default is great for probably 80% of conversational AI when it's short-directed commands and responses. But when you know you're looking for a few sentences, you'll probably want to use either the endpointing or the utterance MS property. That's all for now. Thanks.